This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.
Oh, how I love being a woman. Welcome to Girl Annotated on OAR FM Youth Zone. Take a seat in our virtual cafe as we indulge each other in feminine-focused issues. We're currently in the depths of girl internet. We Gen Z girlies are living in a girl economy. Girls are girling, hot girls are walking, we eat girl dinner, we do girl math, and football players and 40-year-old men are apparently, I did not make the rules, baby girls. However, I have a really hot take. I don't like Girlboss characters. Let me explain. Assalamu alaikum and hello. If you're new here, my name is Edelweiss and welcome to Girl Annotated, where we discuss everything feminine, which might seem a bit of a surprise to any new listeners, considering my very hot take just now. But ladies, fear not. I am not an imposter. In fact, I actually am an official Girlboss Edge Sustainability 2025 graduate. Any former Girlboss Edge members here? Anyways, I am getting ahead of myself here, as per always. What I meant by I don't like Girlboss characters is that I specifically dislike how Hollywood interprets what a strong woman is. With a few exceptions, of course. But it is no surprise that a lot of female characters are written very badly because throughout the history of cinema, there has always been different rule books that female characters would often have to follow. So my hatred is directed towards companies and writers of one-dimensional girl boss characters, not the characters themselves. These characters are fiction. There is no reason to write an entire essay in the comment section, as a lot of people do. I'm not going to point any fingers. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself here again. So today's episode is going to be an episode that revolves around film. We've done a bit of not really politics. I don't think we've done any politics so far, but we've discussed some online debate on this podcast. We've discussed some history, some fun stuff, some light stuff as well. But today we are going to be focusing on film and media. But yeah. And we will be exploring the way that female characters are portrayed in different types of media and comparing the East to the West, and also seeing the different types of girl boss characters and really take a moment to actually think, how do we create actual good female characters that represent women worldwide? Okay, so without further ado, let's dive in. Okay, so don't get me wrong. A girl boss character can be fun. On top of my head, the girl boss characters I can name, like the girl boss characters that you can always picture when you think of the word girl boss are Katniss Everdeen, obviously. I think Miranda Priestley, yeah. Natasha Romanoff, yeah. Sometimes you just want to see a female character that can defend herself and kick some butt. But sometimes, oh my god, these characters feel so unrealistic. And also because I think that the term girl boss isn't a really good term, because you're suggesting that the only way that a woman is good and the ideal woman is a woman who can kick a butt. But yeah, because not everyone is like that. You have physically strong women and emotionally strong women. You have women who are brave, women who are funny, women who are smart, women who are loyal. Even a messy and flawed woman is more enjoyable to see on screen in comparison to a one-dimensional girl boss character, because it is so interesting to see the journey, or a better term would be character development of a character. Yeah. But the thing with girl boss characters is that every one of them are the same. Not all of the time. There are a couple of exceptions of very well-written ones. But when you think of girl boss, you think of one woman. She's usually hot, a good fighter. But if she's a fighter, you gotta put her in a tight latex suit. So she's always sensual. Yeah. I'm specifically pointing fingers at female superheroes and villains. I think you know where I'm coming from here. But like, that's so unrealistic. Because are you comfortable fighting in that? Like, generally, like, how is that, like, how are you fighting while you get... I'm not going to say that on the radio. But, anyways, going back on track. One thing that I wanted to point out was that, one thing that I was thinking of was that back in the good old Tumblr days, being not like other girls was the big thing. And the worst thing you could possibly be during that time was being a basic person. But then that all shifted. When COVID happened, we sort of shifted from being not like other girls because during lockdown, we needed escapism from the outside world. We women have now resorted to embracing femininity as a way of coping. The roles have reversed, and we see the I'm not like other girls girl now as the pick-me girl. Our current society embraces being basic and not judging people for the things that they like. But this just makes things way more complicated. What is the ideal woman? How does one write a female character, given the fact that we ourselves don't know what makes a woman a woman? So let's take a further look at why girl boss characters are flawed. You might disagree with me, but I'm going to lay out my opinion, and I will be talking about girl boss characters that I love, absolutely love, like, for example, Elle Woods, or I don't think, is Jo March considered a girl boss character? Let's see. Okay, what is a girl boss? A girl boss is a woman who is ambitious, independent, confident, and professionally successful. She has to be successful. It was originally meant to celebrate women succeeding in male-dominated spaces, but over time, this has become associated with a very corporate, individualistic form of feminism. So my number one point is that my number one reason why I don't like them, why I don't like these characters, not the characters, the way they were written, is that their success is often measured by power and not happiness. You see, many Hollywood girl bosses are portrayed as successful because they become CEOs, warriors, politicians, billionaires, leaders. Not true leaders, though, because the message sometimes become equality means women can occupy the same powerful positions as men, and that's not wrong. But feminism can also ask, should these systems of power be challenged instead of simply letting women join them? My second point is that emotional vulnerability is treated as weakness. You see, I think that many girl boss characters, if you think about it, have you ever seen a girl boss character that cries? They rarely cry. They avoid asking for help, and they reject traditionally feminine interests. And I mean, there are a lot of women who do not prefer feminine things, and that's completely fine. But the thing is, they're always emotionally unavailable. And this can unintentionally suggest that women must become emotionally masculine to be respected. You see, there's actually some very toxic misogyny in this, because essentially these Hollywood producers, who are mostly white men, would portray women who are strong, but there's no layers upon that, you know? And it sort of suggests that the only reason why she's good at what she's doing, like the only reason why she's a girl boss is because she accepted the role of becoming masculine and rejected everything about being a woman. Why can't strength include kindness, empathy, or softness? I mean, everybody has their own preferences, right? Sometimes there are a lot of, for example, Arcane, absolutely wonderful show. A lot of the characters in there are very badass women, but they also are emotionally available, and I want to say that they're kind. A lot of the characters are pretty flawed, but that's what's so interesting about them is because they are written to be human, whereas your stereotypical girl boss character doesn't feel human. And my third point is that, which ties into what I said just now, is that femininity is sometimes looked down upon. Some examples of this is fashion-loving girls portrayed as shallow, or stay-at-home mothers seen as less ambitious, and romance framed as distracting. But what blows my mind, right, is that a lot of these female superheroes or villains, I feel like mostly villains, I feel like they reject romance. Like, I don't need a man. But they're written to be so sexual. So that make it make sense. But yeah, it just implies that traditionally feminine choices are inferior. But modern feminism, the feminism that I'm trying to build through the podcast, is that I would like to argue that women should be free to choose leadership, to be free to choose motherhood, to be free to choose fashion or careers or any combination. But yeah, you could tell that I myself am getting very emotional right now because these things really piss me off. But hey, that's what a podcast is for, am I right? Okay, point 4. My fourth point is that girl boss characters have representation without complexity, because sometimes Hollywood believes that she's strong because she punches people. And this ties into like what I said just now about characters being flawed. Because us, the audience, increasingly want female characters who are like us, who fail, who grow, who have fears, who rely on others, but also have other people rely on them. But yeah, I think that would be my final point. So yeah, what do you guys think? Do you agree with me? I was very sort of uncertain going into this topic, mainly because I thought that what I said could be controversial. And so I had to think about it again. I had to give myself a while to think about it. Is it wrong for me to not like girl boss characters? But then I realized that it's not that I don't like girl boss characters. I feel like the girl boss character can be redefined, especially if we had more women working in cinema, women working in media, women who are writers. But yeah, so now that we've looked at why I personally think that girl boss characters are flawed, how can we improve what it means to be a girl boss? Okay, let's have a think about it. I think instead of making women perfect, like I said just now, let them be flawed. Let them apologize. Let them fail. Let's allow some more friendships between women, because I feel like a lot of times in cinema, especially like, I guess like the mainstream movies, like big movie franchises, let's say Lord of the Rings, or Lord of the Rings is, I think, done pretty well. I mean, like, what's the name of that girl? The one who in the end she says, "I am no man." I love that character. Is it Eowyn? I'm not so sure. But Lord of the Rings has a pretty pretty good section of token female characters. But what I'm trying to say here is that I do not like it when we have one token female character in a franchise, like let's say Avengers, who is the token character? Black Widow. She's a token female character, and she's a girl boss character. And she hangs out with the boys. And I feel like a way to sort of explore what makes this character a woman is to let her be friends with other women. Give her a female best friend. Why does she have to be one of the boys? It's like I said just now, it's sort of like making the character have to prove that in order to become a girl boss, she has to be masculine. She has to adapt to masculinity. But yeah, so instead of making women perfect, let's make them flawed. And I think, okay, so now we are sort of talking about the girl boss characters that I personally like. Number one, as I said just now, Elle Woods. I think Elle Woods from Legally Blonde is a really good example of a girl boss character because that girl boss title was earned. I really like it because, okay, so, you know, I grew up in Malaysia, right? This is so funny. I've said this to my friend before, but I told her that when I moved to New Zealand, I was so shocked to see people with blonde hair because if you live anywhere in Asia, you often see people with black or brown hair, mostly black-haired people. So yeah, my culture shock is that I've never seen blonde people before. But I think watching Legally Blonde really helps break stereotypes because essentially Legally Blonde is trying to show us that blonde women are not just dumb blondes and that is a stereotype that has been sort of like normalized, and it's a big movie trope, right? And especially like someone like me who lives in Asia wouldn't know this, like, because all over the world we consume Western television, okay? Even though I'm not Western, I'm from Malaysia, I consume a lot of Western television because Hollywood. And so, therefore, a lot of times, the way that these blonde women are portrayed in a lot of the movies is that they would be dumb blondes. And it's just, it honestly feels like Hollywood is this group of mean girls, like quite literally mean girls, making fun of one specific woman. And that's another problem that I have, not just with girl boss characters, but with Hollywood in general, is that we like to poke fun at very specific types of people. And especially during the 90s where there was this sort of very bad type of humor. I saw this thing online about how Gen Z was quick to cancel the new Scary Movie, because we just cannot adapt to that humor, because in our modern day society, those kind of jokes are just bad. Those jokes are just quite literally offensive. But anyways, going back on track, I love Elle Woods because she has such an inspirable journey. Okay? When I watched Legally Blonde, I could tell that she has always been a smart person. She was always like this very genuine, very kind person, and throughout the movie, she was never shy and never scared of not being herself. When she went to Harvard, she had to adapt. And another thing that I love about her is that she never treated people unkindly. Like, what do you call it? Like people take one look at her and they judge her. But she treated everybody with such utmost kindness. And I think she reminds me of a lot of my friends at school, you know? Like there's, especially when I moved here, I was very intimidated because, you know, I was the new kid. And a lot of times I would pass along the hall or I'd go to one of my classes and I'd see a girl who is from a completely different world from me. And we couldn't be any more different. And I immediately, without thinking, developed this hatred for her. But then I get to know her and I realize that she's the sweetest person on earth. You see, I think a lot of girl boss characters could really influence this onto young girls. Like, it influences us, gives us this idea that we should hate each other, that women should find reasons to hate each other and just make enemies and stereotype us into these different boxes. And I think that's very harmful. Yeah, so that's another thing about girl bosses. But once again, I just love Elle Woods. She has one, amazing character development. 2, she embraces femininity, but she's also a true girl boss. Yeah. Yeah, she has a very bubbly personality. Yeah. But yeah, kindness plays a lot into her character. That's why I really love Elle Woods. I think another girl boss character would be literally every character from Little Woman. Little Woman is interesting because it doesn't have that girl boss label and it doesn't have that girl boss stereotype. And if you don't know, Little Woman is a classic, I think. A classic book about these 4 sisters who lived after the American Civil War. No, during the American Civil War. And they're poor. And the book, it shifts between their childhood and adulthood. And it shows the stories of each sister and the different life that they take, the different kind of woman that they are. And that's the reason why I love Little Woman. Little Woman is a good critique of society at the time, at how women were treated at the time. But what's really nice about Little Woman is that it doesn't try to shove it into your face. I think all of the versions of Little Woman have a very different vibe to it. I haven't seen any of the silent films because I just can't. But I've read the book. I've seen the 90s version. The 90s version is interesting because it feels like a Christmas movie. But yeah, it has Winona Ryder, who plays a very good Joe. But my ultimate favorite, and I think a lot of people's favorites, is Greta Gerwig's version, the 2019 version of Little Woman. And like I said just now, it doesn't sort of shove being girl boss to your face, but rather it highlights first the problems in the society in a very smart way. For example, one of the characters that everybody hated before Greta Gerwig's version of Little Woman was Amy. Is it Amy? Yeah, it's Amy. Amy is not the youngest. Is she the youngest? I think she is the youngest. I could be wrong. But Amy is essentially one of the younger siblings. And she is very childish at first. And we hate her because she did some questionable things. You have to watch the film to find out. But towards Amy's adulthood, we understand her character more. And there's this one scene where she's with this other character called Lori. And she and Lori have feelings for each other. But she wants to get married to a man called, I can't remember his name. Fred Vaughn, I think. But she was going to get married to this one man. And Lori was like, why don't you choose love? Why don't you do what you're passionate about? Why are you getting married to this man? And Amy, she says that as a woman, she's like, how could you be so selfish, Lori? As a woman, how am I supposed to live life? This is not exactly what she said, but she presents this idea that at the time, everything that a woman owns, all of my money belongs to my husband. And that's so interesting because she wasn't the beginning of the movie, she wasn't presented as this person who was ultimately girl boss. Like she doesn't shove it into our face that oh, life is so unfair and I'm a woman and I can't do anything about it. It's only at this breaking point when we see her reveal that she cannot not get married, because if she doesn't get married, she has no money. And it like critiques the society at the time. And something about this moment it makes you pause and it makes you think. And it's so interesting because in contrast to the main character Jo, she is very she's all about free will. She's all about chasing her dreams. But Amy is the opposite. Amy is a woman who sticks by the book, who follows society's rules, because ultimately she's scared of what would happen to her, of what would happen to her family. Because at this point of the film, the family is poor. And if she doesn't marry Fred Vaughn, they're not going to have any money and they won't be able to live. And so she's thinking realistically. It just hits deep. It's pure cinema. It's pure cinema. But yeah, cool. I think we've narrowed down how we can fix female characters in a cinema. However, now I'm going to add another layer to the conversation. I am going to add another perspective. We've talked about majority. I was just complaining about Girlboss characters. I made this episode to complain. But I am now, and we talked about, just now we talked also about some good Girlboss characters, aka Elle Woods and Jo, Meg, Beth, and Amy. I only talked about Amy and a bit of Jo just now, but all four of the sisters from Little Women are very good Girlboss characters. Even the mother. That's another good thing about Little Women. I'm just going to say it right now. They do not demonize motherhood. They make sisterhood and motherhood such a beautiful concept. But yeah, Little Women, great. Watch Little Women. But now, we are going to tackle another layer into Girlboss characters. And you see, now we are going to not time travel. We are going to travel to the other side of the world. We are now at the West. We have examined the good Western Girlbosses. Now we are going to compare them to Asian female characters in media. Unfortunately, like, Asia is pretty wide, right? Asia is the biggest continent, and Asia has a lot of very interesting female characters. Depends on like where you are in Bollywood and K-dramas. But today we are going to be talking about Studio Ghibli. Edelweiss, what is Studio Ghibli? What's that? If you didn't know, Studio Ghibli is an animation company that produces beautiful 2D hand-drawn kids movies, but are also enjoyable for adults because these films are directed with very political and very philosophical themes, and they just make you question your worldview. The founder of the company is this Japanese man called Hayao Miyazaki, and his movies are truly works of art. And I know I sound like I'm glazing this man, but let me tell you, what I'm about to say is going to blow your mind. Fun fact for you guys before we continue talking. I am actually a very big K-pop fan. I love K-pop because it was a big part of my middle school. In Malaysia, we don't have middle school. We have primary school and then we go into high school. But yeah. So sort of like around middle school time, I was very, at first I was anti-K-pop, and then I realized why people really loved K-pop. It was just like very artistic. And you see, the thing is, the moment you watch a K-pop music video, you won't be able to come back because they're just so visually appealing, and there's just this art about it, about like this togetherness when they work inside the different K-pop groups. It's nice, but also the industry is really bad, and they treat their idols very badly. Maybe I should make a episode about that. Who knows? But yeah, I'm very excited for Red Velvet's comeback, which will be coming out probably around the time this episode comes out. It will probably be out already. But let's get back on track. And okay, so we talked about Girlboss characters. Woohoo! Actually, it's not good. It's not good. Well, most of it. The way that it is dominantly portrayed is not good. And now we are going to be talking about Studio Ghibli's portrayal of female characters. Okay, dear listeners, if you haven't seen a Ghibli film, I suggest that you actually pause this episode right now and go watch one, because I think it's very, absolutely crucial, because you won't be able to understand what I'm saying if you haven't seen these characters yourself. Here's some recommendations. Spirited Away, Kiki's Delivery Service, Howl's Moving Castle, From Up the Poppy Hill is a very underrated one. Princess Mononoke, and I think, those are the ones that have female main characters. Okay. So yeah, let's compare Western and Ghibli interpretations of what it means to be a strong female character. So at first when I did this, I sort of just listed down the different attributes of the different Hollywood and Ghibli girl bosses, and it didn't really work. Okay, what I mean is that this is what I wrote, okay? I wrote that Hollywood women are independent, physically strong, and confident. Meanwhile, Ghibli women are resilient, empathetic, kind, and have perseverance. But then I realized that that just doesn't do Ghibli women justice. So I had to really think about it. Bear with me, because I'm going to get really, really philosophical here. I wrote this whole section about Ghibli characters at 3 a.m. when I had this big moment of wisdom. You know, when you're in a shower or when you're about to go to sleep and then you wake up and you realize, oh my God, I'm a genius. Okay, so this is what I came up with. What I think is interesting is that in Western portrayal of female characters, there's always this show of empowerment. Like a scene where a woman defeats the bad guy, the woman kicking someone's butt, the woman saying sometimes a very catchy feminist one-liner. But Ghibli women simply don't care about a show of empowerment. They don't have something to prove. For example, San from Princess Mononoke isn't fighting for glory. She's just trying to save the forest. She's an eco-girly. Chihiro from Spirited Away doesn't want anything for herself. She just wants to save her parents and save her dragon boyfriend. Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle tries to break her curse, but stops caring about that and instead lives her new life with her found family. In Western film, most characters have this hidden potential where throughout the film they discover that they have this greatness. And then the character gets rewarded with all the fame and admiration that they deserve. But everything that heroines in Ghibli films comes from a sense of duty. Duty to your parents, duty to your siblings, duty to your friends, your family, your found family, or your country. But yeah. And it sort of goes the same way with some of the villains. I particularly really like this one character. Her name is Lady Eboshi from Princess Mononoke. And she's such a likable, evil female character because she's so sassy. She's evil. I love that. And you see, the whole movie is about humans versus nature, right? And she's the one who wants to destroy the forest throughout the film. Because this hatred towards the mystical beings in the forest lies within her duty to protect these women who are ex-brothel girls. But yeah, and it just made me come to this realization that Ghibli movies never have a set villain. Like Lady Eboshi is practically not a villain. She's just coming from a different perspective, from a different worldview. And whatever villain there is, like I said, is always a complex character with a different opinion. Or sometimes these villains join the band of misfits in the film. And it just clicked to me another reason why I love these female characters so much. So, if you do not know, it is very inherent that Hayao Miyazaki, the creator of Studio Ghibli, is a pacifist. All of his movies deal with subjects of war and show that war is bad. Miyazaki doesn't see the point of winning wars. He doesn't respect money or fame. So what does his female characters have if Miyazaki doesn't see the point of winning wars? What does his female characters have if they're not winning or getting on top or getting money and winning the American dream? So going back to the villains, if you don't watch Ghibli films, if you watch Ghibli films, you'll notice that these just random things can just happen. They're very funny, if you watch the movie, sometimes the most random things happen without explanation until you pause the movie and you really think about it and you're like, huh. And in a lot of the films, like I said just now, the villains would join the band of misfits. They'll join the main characters. They'll become good. Because these characters live in these broken worlds, and it's isolated these girls, told them that they don't belong. These characters have lost their husbands, their families, their siblings, their dreams, aspirations. They have been cursed. But what do in response to the monsters in their lives? They give them umbrellas. They pay their bus fares. They feed them porridge. Instead of how can I defeat the villain, Ghibli women have this mindset of how can I understand where this villain is coming from? But this is so much more than just being kind and pure. These characters have an sort of like an inner harmony, an inner harmony in a disharmonious society. These characters have an openness despite everything. They identify with the cursed and the shunned. They are willing to walk towards what scares other people. They are about healing broken worlds, bringing people together, finding others to find their true selves, and adapting that soft, sort of peaceful harmony. Their journey is never about themselves, but about projecting their inner harmony to the external broken world. The kindness that these Ghibli characters have is naturally woman. Hear me out. Okay, I am not trying to say that we should subject ourselves to traditional gender characteristics, I'm not saying that all women must be soft. Rather, okay, let's look at a different lens. Hayao Miyazaki realizes that there is this trend of men in real life being lost, okay? Men often get caught in money and fame and war and reputation and all that stupid stuff. And yes, a lot of evil women do that too. A lot of crazy women politicians do that. But that sort of contrasts with women IRL, whose traditional responsibilities include a lot of non-physical duties, like raising children and providing care for their homes. And yes, women have been excluded from these physical duties, and it is unfair. But because we have this natural softness to us, these characteristics that women naturally have fostered this mindset that values less physical things, less materialistic things. He highlights that the strengths that men don't have as compared to women: love, emotion, relationships. I think it's often a stereotype that we always say that women are so emotional. But to an extent, we have emotions, very strong emotions, and a lot of the times that emotion can be a very good quality to have, because a man can be kind, but he is not soft and gentle like a woman. A man can, but will never love you like a woman. And a man will be a great father, but he will never be a mother. And that's, oh wow, don't even get me started into like motherhood. Motherhood is such a beautiful thing. I'm not a mother, I wouldn't know, but I have a mother and I love my mother. Shout out to you, mommy. Okay, but continuing. Don't get me wrong. Miyazaki is a huge feminist, but as I explained, he doesn't seem to be put off by traditional gender roles. He sees value in both traditional and non-traditional gender stuff. He doesn't see the reason to separate the two. For example, Sophie is a traditional housekeeper who cooks and cleans, and his lover Hao is a sorcerer. He's really cool. He has magic and he fights. And Hao seems to be the cooler character at first, but in the end, turns out to be sort of pathetic and a helpless man who needs Sophie's strong emotional intelligence to guide him. On the other side, we have another character called San from Princess Mononoke. San is quite the opposite. She isn't very traditional. She's actually anti-men at first, but she ends up caring for the guy that she falls in love with, aka Ashitaka. Ashitaka shows her love, and she grows into a better person, but she never turns away from being a warrior. She learns to love, but she stays strong and courageous. You see, these characters, they do not need a reason to change who they are. Miyazaki, in the end, just unapologetically embodies what it truly means to be a feminist. He has two beliefs that intertwine with each other. Number one, a woman can do what they want. But also, number two, as the human race, we have our duties. The traditional stuff, like being a mother or raising a family, is so important. But if women want to do other things, then you go, girl. It's simple as that. Go fight human supremacy, go do science, go do art, build planes, do magic, fall in love with a fine man. At no point in any of these films do the women feel any lesser than the men. I find that so interesting. But they are so selfless, and they have a lack of ego that they are willing to put the people that they love above everything else. Which brings me to another part of Ghibli women. These women cherish the men in their lives, which embodies the true meaning of gender equality. Being a man isn't a bad thing, because Hayao Miyazaki's films are about harmony. Of course, none of the female characters are going to be seen beating up the bad guys. This defeats the whole purpose of these spiritual, harmonious heroes. But if you have situations where men are being creepy, predatory, clingy, the reactions we see from these female characters is to go away from it. When a man is being creepy, they defend themselves. And maybe, when they are lucky, and the men aren't complete douchebags, they help these flawed male characters. And I think this leads to another thing, and I think probably would be the most important thing about female characters in Ghibli movies. I feel like I've talked a lot about the cute Ghibli romance just now. I talked about how they view men as equals and how they're not afraid to have romance. But if there is one value that Ghibli heroines have that is the most important thing about them, it cannot be emphasized enough. It's love. Okay, I know the look that you're giving me right now. It's kind of cheesy, it's kind of stereotypical, but I'm not talking about romantic love. For some reason, and I mostly blame Hollywood for this, is that when we think of love, we think about stereotypical romantic love. We have been, dare I say, brainwashed that the movie cookie-cutter experience of love is the best thing you can find. The Hollywood interpretation of a happy ending for a romance story is that two people will fall in love at first sight. They kiss and they have sex sometimes and they live happily ever after. But Miyazaki completely, interestingly, rejects that. One of his films, Pocoroso, has a very funny quote that simplifies this, where one of the female characters directly says to this one guy, "Love is a bit more complicated here than in America." And in real life, Hayao Miyazaki himself said, "I've become skeptical of the unwritten rule that just because a boy and a girl appear in the same feature, a romance must ensue. Rather, I want to portray a slightly different relationship, one where the two mutually inspire each other to live. If I'm able to, then perhaps I'll be closer to portraying a true expression of love." Ghibli couples, they never kiss. They never have over-the-top confessions. They never have anything lustful. But they become friends. They work together as partners who are equal. And they have these silent moments of soft chemistry. Maybe it's because it's PG-13. Maybe because it's a children movie. But think about it. Miyazaki is basically making us question. What if this is the type of love that we consider humanity's highest value? What if the thing we believed in life to be utmost happy wasn't love at first sight, or kisses, or sex, but helping each other, healing each other, equality, and partnership? I personally feel myself giggling and kicking my feet even more when I see this type of romance compared to watching a Hollywood movie like steamy scene. Sometimes I don't understand how these characters can easily fall in love so quickly. I mean, we literally only see these characters interacting in the average span of a movie. So like an hour or a half. But maybe there's a beauty of being able to fall in love simply by helping each other, by supporting each other, and just appreciating each other's presence rather than this superficial sort of idea of love in Hollywood movies that show that we need to make the best move, that we need to dress attractively for the purpose of someone else, the need to pursue someone at a club or a party. It's a bit cheesy. I'll be honest. It's a bit cheesy to think that love can just exist based on trust and that we are these beings made to love. But that's the world that Miyazaki champions. And it's beautiful. So in conclusion, to sum it all up, he creates these normal women like you and me who live in these broken worlds. These women are both traditional and non-traditional and do whatever they want, but still have a sense of duty, and they put their sense of duty above everyone else. I mean, above everything else. Because they are selfless, and they put others before themselves, and through their journeys, they become stronger. And once they've earned that character development, they help the people that mean the most to them, and they finally earn love. Whatever romantic connection they have between them and their partner is left to them, and we don't need to wait for a scene where they kiss or have anything more than that, because a real romance lies with their capability of just understanding one another. The female characters never have to do anything that makes the men fall in love with them. But they also don't hate men. They just fall in love because they are partners, because they are equal. This is a true hero, and that is what being a woman is all about. There is a perfect way of what female characters are portrayed in this film, in these films. And what I love about Ghibli Woman is that Miyazaki doesn't just write strong female women, he writes strong characters that just happen to be women. Absolute cinema. I know it's all so philosophical and it seems like I'm glazing this children's animation company, but I really do like it because it's that deep. So yeah, definitely watch a Ghibli film. It's so worth it. I honestly feel like Hayao Miyazaki should be the standard for a lot of male producers and male directors who want to write female characters. But other than that, we have a lot of good female directors as well. Greta Gerwig, Naoko Yamada, Marjane Satrapi, I think that's her name. But yeah, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed my little rant. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye! Thanks for joining us on Girl Annotated. Check out our Instagram at girl_annotated and look out for our latest episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on oar.org.nz. See you next time!
This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.